Hey, party people, welcome back. Welcome to Sean from Shine Like a Pro AZ and Darren with Auto Fetish Detail. So today we're going to take your questions. Not that we don't take them already,
Mm.
but we want to focus entirely on your questions this evening. I myself am coming from beautiful, sunny Southern California, and I would say today's weather was epic. 73 degrees at the beach,
Mm.
slight wind at about 6 miles per hour, humidity probably ranged around 50%, I would say, but just pristine azure skies. It was business as usual. This time of year is lovely. So, anyhow, Sean, while we allow people to bounce in, can you go to my channel?
Yeah.
I did a community poll. One of my big topics I like to do on my YouTube channel is poke fun at this industry with all the endless hype, specifically the hyperbolic, the dramatization. It's what I often call um, detailing theater. So if you read the top there, Sean.
In your opinion, which brand has the least trustworthy packaging claims?
Okay, what would you choose, Sean? You've got what is there, 4 options there? Yeah.
Yeah, I would go with Chemical Guys too.
Yeah. Although, you know what? I would have done the same until check this out. So you want to bounce back to Amazon?
Yeah.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Yes.
Maintain altitude, maintain flight pattern. So here we have ceramic plus graphene paste wax. Can you go to that picture before where it had that layout looks a little different than what, yeah, close that out. Okay. Now I've got better context. So let's start with the title of this product, Sean. Hybrid Solutions Ceramic Patent Pending Graphene Paste Wax. How many companies have I seen use that patent pending? It's kind of like, oh, and that's kind of like guilt by association, which is okay if it's so unique that we were able to create a patent on it. It's like, well, not really, because it's patent pending, which then leads me to say that literally anyone, because I've been down this wormhole before. In fact, I have like 7 trademarks, which are very different than patents, but a lot of people can confuse them. So you can, oh,
Hold on.
where did you
Hold
go?
on.
Your screen.
No, I know. 1 second, please.
Okay,
Uh,
we'll hold on.
okay.
Thank you. There we go. So patent pending, which my point is this, because it's kind of like bragging rights. Oh, our product is so unique, so special that not only were we able to get a patent on it, but we want to protect it. And therefore we patented, because once our competitors find out about our amazing technology, surely they're going to want to copy it. So right there in the title, I'm going to call that marketing hype, patent pending. And then we get into the whole graphene. Like Sean, you're familiar with graphene, I suspect, at least in the world of detailing products. Yes or no? Sean? Sean?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay, I suspected you were. I think a lot of people are. So first came ceramic, which the industry decided was not good enough, because all of them are fighting amongst themselves to get your money into their pockets. So they're all trying to separate you from your money. It's called competition. It's called the free market. I'm a big fan of it. But how, as a company, are you going to outdo your competition? So each of them are figuring out ways to lure you into buying their product. So someone comes up with something, let's call it an original idea, which very few actually do have an original idea. Often what they do is they just rebrand or borrow things from other industries. So for example, graphene, was borrowed from other industries. I think it was developed in about I think 2010 is when graphene really became a reality. If you do a deep dive, and I've done only a semi deep dive on it, um, because it just like literally with like same with ceramic, because I already go into it very skeptical with a lot of cynicism because that's what the industry has taught me as a person. It's like, okay, you guys are going to use tons of embellishment. You're not going to be very, or you're not going to be very transparent with us. You're going to use a bunch of marketing hype, stuff that we don't necessarily understand, stuff that are massive generalizations, and therefore you can't really put your finger on something to quantify it or qualify it. And so I already enter with a high level of skepticism. So here we are right at the title, and it's loaded with what I would call hype. The glaring one is the patent pending. The second one is graphene. It's like, okay, so here we have ceramic. It's a ceramic patent pending graphene paste wax. It's like, okay, so it's not just great because it's ceramic. It's greater than great because now it has ceramic and graphene. So it's like, wow, this must be super, super great stuff. So do me a favor, Sean, click over on the second image on the left. Yes. Oh, no, no, no. I'm sorry. Go down. Well, you know what? Actually, you can stay there. So click on that. So is there anything that stands out in your brain when you see this picture, Sean?
Yeah, it looks like wax.
Well, it is wax.
Yeah,
It's a paste wax. See,
yeah.
and I'm glad you just said that because right there, you could actually call that I mean, I could call that a contradiction. So, for example, they're calling a ceramic patent pending graphene paste wax. It's like, well, wax kind of tends to lean into something that's natural. So it's like, okay, so they blended something natural with something that's man made. Ergo, we have the word hybrid. So I guess I'll let them slide on that one. But is there anything else that kind of stands out in your head, Sean, by looking at that image? Because it does for me. You want to know what it is?
Just tell me.
It's a color of that wax.
Oh,
What
okay.
color would you call that?
It looks like mustard or something.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird, funky color, right?
Like Dijon mustard or something like
Yeah, it's kind of
that.
like a muted Dijon mustard.
Yeah.
The reason my eyes took note of that is because back in the day, they used to have colored waxes, and there was a few companies that were guilty of it. And I say guilty because I'm going to call BS on it. McGuire's was one of them. They literally had a black wax and a white wax. Now, never mind, we could get into like, ooh, that sounds a little racial.
Mm.
That'd be funny.
Yep.
But they literally had white wax that was engineered for, wait for it, can you guess, Sean?
Tell me.
White cars.
Ah.
Now, if you were like, if you just fell off the turnip wagon yesterday, you might buy into that and think, oh, wow, that makes sense. White wax on white car. And yeah, I think I can lean into that. And then therefore it's like, oh, black wax for a black car. Okay, cool. I can lean into that. But what about the 551 other colors in between white and black? Are you going to wait for a special wax that's been formulated precisely for that color of paint in order to use it? Because what if you were to apply what let me enunciate that better. What if you were to apply white wax, for example, on black paint? A, do you think it would stain your paint black? B, do you think it would diminish the visual performance of it because you're using black wax on white paint? It's like, this is what races through my head. The point I'm driving at is that there's still companies producing color dedicated wax products based on the color of your paint. But what's so absurd is that we're talking about very a thin layer of wax that is so thin you can't even measure it. I'm sure the technology might exist today where you might be able to measure that, but I am very suspect that you could. But you know something has been put down because it changes the way the surface looks. It adds visual enhancement. You can feel a difference. So you know something is there, but it's so thin you can't measure it. So that would then lead me to say, well, if it's so thin, would you really be able, would your eye be able to interpret the color of the wax that you put on that paint? I'm going to say no. So right there, when it's like, okay, here we are, it's got this colored wax, and I wonder if that um, contradicts some of other Turtle Wax's products because they just have so many. I would not be surprised if they have their own dedicated colored wax products.
Well,
For example,
I get. Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you. I got a
you're
question
fine.
for you.
Yeah.
So instead of using this wax, there's obviously it's all marketing mumbo jumbo.
Well, wait, by the way, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you back.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying this is not a good product or it doesn't work. Okay, that's
Okay.
a separate conversation. But
Yeah.
go on.
What I was gonna say, since we do have people in the audience, um, why don't you recommend something that you think is not better,
Oh,
but
wait, I'm
maybe
not done blowing holes in this yet, though.
okay. All right. Well, I just okay.
So go to the next picture. You can, it's, yeah, top, yeah, there it is. Thanks. So here we are. It's infused with real graphene versus artificial graphene. Okay. It's so really the point of this is it's just the marketing hype just continues to escalate. So if you read the fine print, it says uniquely blended polymers. See, polymers is another word. It's such a watered down word, and it's such a catch-all. So polymer just means many. So many mers. So polymer means many type of chemicals put together. So it's such a generic word, but it sounds sophisticated and special, right? So therefore, they're going to use it in their marketing. Uniquely blended polymers infused with graphene create a tighter web of protection. And then they show kind of some AI generated web that is going to be the power of suggestion. Like, oh my gosh, that's going to be super cool. Imagine my car now has this tighter web of protection that I'm going to apply in the form of a hybrid solutions ceramic patent pending graphene paste wax. Okay, cool. So go to the next thumbnail. Yes. Now, Turtle Wax just figure out how to ramp up their marketing hype once again. Now it has not only UV protection, but it has UV protection with heat dissipation. Wow. And for all of you that don't know what dissipation means, it literally means that it spreads it out. It disperses the heat. If you anyhow, so it's like it just wants to melt my brain. How about that? So go to the next slide. Yeah. Now we're back to the synthetic wax polymers. Now at a level, you could say that that's a direct contradiction because once again, well, let me start with the 30,000 foot perspective. Synthetic, massive generalization. Synthetic can be anything man-made. Wax, massive generalization. There's probably, 200,000 different types of waxes known to man. Polymers, massive generalization. So we have three words strung together to sound like a very high-tech, sophisticated product in the form of a synthetic wax polymers infused with, oh wait, here it is, SiO2, increase your vehicles. Okay, it's not even correct English. It's saying it's like a sentence that's been chopped up. Infused with SiO2, increase your vehicle's depth and color, gloss, water beading, and shine. So I suspect you don't know what SiO2 is, right, Sean?
Nope.
I'm going to tell you. I'm glad you asked, even though you didn't. So SiO2 is silicon dioxide. So you're familiar with H2O, which is water.
Yep.
So when you study chemistry, H stands for hydrogen, O stands for oxygen. So water is hydrogen, 2 parts with 1 part oxygen, H2. So the power of 2 just means it's not really the power of 2, it's just 2 molecules of hydrogen combined with one molecule of oxygen. So if there's no power symbol up there, that just means it's one molecule. So this SiO2, so Si is silicon, O2 is oxygen to the two parts. So that's what this is, silicon dioxide, which is, and that's what I was saying either last week or the week before when we were talking about ceramic. And I said, yes, the technology is legit. What's not legit is the name ceramic, because it's just a catch-all. Someone, and I would love to know what companies came out with the first ceramic product. I tried to do a deep dive on this using AI, but I was unsuccessful. But I would love to know who decided to just brand it as ceramic. And we're going to use SiO2 technology, and we're going to put a little, just enough into our product so that we can put it on the packaging. There's probably some federal law that says how much stuff you actually have, how much content you actually have to be in there in order to put it on your packaging. That I can't really confirm. Anyhow, so, but ceramic, that is just a made up term. It's just a, it's so ambiguous, so watered down, catch all term. Endless industries use it. Obviously, this industry uses it to sell product, to create a, marketing that just pushes all those emotional triggers in you. It's like, oh wow, synthetic wax polymers, and then you put that picture behind it. Doesn't that look cool, Sean? That what could you call that color? I would call that a burgundy. And see all the water beating on it. It's like, who wouldn't want their car to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool. So now you add this cool text overlay on it, synthetic wax polymers. Wow, that sounds so high tech and sophisticated. I want that. And it's infused with SiO2. Increase your vehicle's depth of color, gloss, water beating, and shine. And I wonder what the difference between gloss and shine is. I mean, you got shine in your branding there, Sean.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go with gloss? Gloss like a pro versus shine like a pro.
Because I went off my research. My research said that this is the best title for engagement.
Yeah. Anyhow, so let's see. What's the next thumbnail? Okay, stops water and contaminants. Okay, does it really stop it? Right there, I'm going to call BS on that. Okay, so there's a thing. It would be one thing to say it diminishes it, or it repels it, or it prevents it. And you could even argue, and this is where it just kind of gets into semantics, like tomato, tomato, potato, potato. It's like, well, it's really the same thing. It's like, but is it? Like this says it stops water and contaminates. So that's a pretty definitive statement, which I'm going to call BS on that. So stops water and contaminants from sticking to the vehicle. So I don't know, that picture suggests that the water looks pretty stuck to that paint. Okay, it doesn't mean you can't get it off, but obviously it's stuck long enough for them to take that picture, right? Right,
Right.
Sean? Yeah,
Right.
there we go. play, humor me, Sean. So, resulting in a clean, protected, and easier to maintain finish. Okay, do you see anything wrong with that wording other than what I've already pointed out, Sean?
With
I'm going
the
to
you
tell you
mean
what it is.
okay? Tell me what it is.
Clean. Okay, so that's just a filler word. It's like, okay, I want to know who the person that's writing this ad copy is, because I would fire them. So, for example, stops water and contaminants. They put that in all. Actually, the whole text block there is all uppercase. But what they did is they boldened that first line. So even though it's not its own separate sentence, meaning this moment has so many errors in it. So as a person that does a lot of writing, as a person that does a lot of ad copy and designing and font choosing, I'm going to say whoever did this, you're fired, especially for a company as big as Turtle Wax. So we've got the first line of a sentence that's been boldened. So it actually, the way it's designed, it suggests that it's a title not part of the little tiny sentence there. So point is stops water and contaminants from sticking to the vehicle, resulting in a clean, protected, and easier to maintain finish. Okay, Sean, do you ever wax a dirty vehicle?
No,
Why not?
because the wax won't stick on. It won't stay on.
Well, it's stupid. I mean,
Well,
there's the simple edge to stupid, meaning, okay, wax serves a specific set of purposes, right? It adds a layer of protection. It increases the gloss or shine, pick whichever word you like. So it does that. So why would you put that on top of dirt? You wouldn't. It wouldn't make sense, would it? But the way they've worded this sentence, it's though it's like you're going to use the wax to clean. So resulting in a clean, like for example, what I'm saying is that you clean your vehicle first, then you wax it. So why are they putting clean in that descriptor?
it's marketing. It's all
Resulting
marketing.
in a clean, protected, it's like, well, it's anyhow, I know anyone listening to this are going to be like, dude, you're so overthinking it. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's my point. It's like this is a company trying to sell you a product. Where's the trust? If they can't get me with their trust by their marketing, what is going to incentivize me to drop some of my hard earned money on their products when they are what I would call distrustful with their marketing and advertising and labeling and word choice?
I can answer that question for you really fast.
Please do.
You're not their customer base. They're not looking for someone like you.
Perhaps, but yet, what if I was just a normal car owner? It's
But you're
like I'm
not
going to
though.
have to shop somewhere because I'm a believer in applying some kind of protection to your paint. Not only do I advocate for it, and I'm a big fan of it, but I also like the way it makes your car look. So it once again it serves two purposes: protection, visual enhancement. So even if you weren't convinced about the protection, you probably would still lean into it because it will visually enhance your car's paint. But let's say you believe in both of those qualities of waxing your car. It's like, okay, well, someone's going to separate me from some of my money because I'm going to put some wax on my car, and I want a product that I can believe in. I want a company that I think is trustworthy, because if I don't trust them, then I'm going to question their product. Maybe it's just garbage. Maybe it's not adding any protection to my paint. I mean, as a car owner, could you really quantify that, Sean? How would you know, Sean? How would you know that the wax that you applied is actually giving some kind of protection to your car paint? Could you really know that?
No.
No, you really couldn't. So therefore, you're going to have to assign some kind of trust in that company, right? The company that produces the product that you just chose to buy, and now you're choosing to spend more money in the time of your time and effort, because time is money. So by giving your time away, you can't ever give it back. So it's a form of currency, right? It is. Therefore, where's the trust? I say, where is the trust? If I can't trust them to market their products, and by the way, I was just actually going to say, let's just say labeling their products, which is not marketing, but it's like, no, I corrected myself. It's both. So there is marketing, there is advertising, and then there's labeling, but they all work together as far as the holistic marketing efforts on their part. The point is if they're already creating skepticism in my head, then what if I bounce and go to brand B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way through the alphabet, and then I'm going to run out of alphabet letters in the alphabet because there's just so many companies pimping out their products, trying to get us to use their stuff on our cars so they're protected and they look better. But once again, where's the trust? So to come full circle, when I asked that question on my page, I gave 4 options: Chemical Guys, Turtle Wax, McGuire's, and Mothers, I believe, is the 4th one. And my knee jerk reaction, because I've blown so many holes in Chemical Guys products, is that I would think that they would be the worst offenders as far as hyped up marketing. But then I came across this. It's like, oh my gosh, I think maybe Turtle Wax. Maybe I'm going to have to assign them the ruler of hyped up marketing after I saw this product and I started doing a deep dive. So click on that one of those other thumbnails.
What's
Hey,
up, Juice
what's that?
Free?
What's that? Oh,
I
hey,
said,
Juice
what's up,
Free.
Juice Free?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if we've seen him in here before. Have we, Sean?
Nope.
What's up, Juice Free? Rinseless Gang. Yes, we could call us the Rinseless Gang. I mean, we've done a few videos on that, Sean, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
I love wireless wash
I know. You know, it's
products.
interesting. True story here, guys. I was introduced to a guy named Gary, and he was working with Tom Horvath before I entered the picture as a business owner, which I'm no longer part of that, just FYI. And Gary was a true fanatic. Like he had a truck, well taken care of, and he is wired very similar to me, where we mentally are going to do a deep dive on any subject. So, Sean, do you actually know my history as far as waterless washing? I don't think you do.
You know, when you
Like,
go
I've
ahead and
never
tell
told
us.
you about it.
When you go ahead and tell us.
What's that?
Go ahead and tell us.
Okay. So, I could make the claim that me and my staff of worker bees developed waterless washing before it ever became a thing. And this was way before the internet. And it was accidental. And what I did is I had an employee, his name is Kevin. And the reason I call out names is because I don't want people to think I'm just making this stuff up as I go. And so that's me kind of quantifying, like, yeah, this is legit. So I had an employee named Kevin, and he was kind of a slacker. I'm not going to lie. He was kind of a slacker. I knew him as a friend. He wanted a job. I gave him a job, but he was always cutting corners. He really was like almost the polar opposite of what a detailer should be, but he did well enough. So he showed me, we used to use these chamois called water sprites. It was one of the original synthetic chamois, and we loved them. We used to wash every car the old school way, tons of water, tons of soap, all that normal mess. So what he did is and this is way before we had quick detailers. None of these things existed. No quick detailers, no waterless wash products. None of that stuff existed. So what he did is he took some window cleaner and sprayed it on the paint and then just wiped the dirt off with the wet chamois. It wasn't dripping wet, it was damp. And I thought, oh my gosh, dude, you're going to like destroy the paint. We can't do this. Well, he's like, no, Darren, trust me, it works. I said, well, I know it works. It obviously cleans the paint, but I mean, all these crazy things went through my head, thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, like, there's no way. But then I started experimenting with it, and the more I experimented with it, I realized that there's some merit to it. And so that's where I started experimenting with different techniques so that I was able to take the dirt off, remove it in what you would call a waterless washing application, where you're going to use some type of liquid to start to break down the surface dirt that's sitting there on the paint, and then you're going to mop it up. And by the way, this is before we had microfiber technology. I'm sure it existed somewhere in the world. It just hadn't been introduced to the world of detailing yet. So we are using old school terry cloth towels. I mean, the most sophisticated, high tech thing that we used in the form of a tool was those synthetic chamois. In fact, you can pull it up, Sean. Pull up, look, do a type or do a search on Amazon and type in water sprite with a T as in Tom, water sprite.
Oh, all one word or?
It doesn't matter. It's such an obscure word. It'll come up. Yes. Okay. Look at that chamois. Okay. Click on the left, the far left. SM Arnold. That is the original. That was our go-to chamois. And you could get some that were really big and you cut them in half. So you get a two. Actually, if you look at that picture, I don't know if you can enlarge that. You see the guy's got it on the hood. That's a pretty big sheet, which is too much to really work with. And so what we would do is like hover over it again so it enlarges.
Does it does? Okay.
You did, yeah. Yeah, there you go. You see how big that sheet is?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they make those today, meaning now we have them, we call them I don't know, drying sheets.
Yeah, I
And
used
the
to have one.
yeah, so the goal is because I didn't really understand them at first. I thought because of my experience, I looked at something that big and I said, "There's no way someone's going to be able to wring that out. It's just too big." But that's the goal of the sheet is to not wring it out. Really, the goal of the sheet is to have it so big that you can mop up all the standing water of your car really, really quickly, so it doesn't spot if you're like, for example, working in the direct sunlight. But point is,
Also, there we have a question.
new hyperfoam rinseless. You think they're coming for you? Yeah, I don't know how to say that first name. Van Lacroix is what his name is. Yeah, and I think he's the Sean, can you That's funny by the way. They probably are by the way, juice free is my guess. Do you know who I don't know how to now it's been so long since I pronounced that dude's name. Evan LaCroix. Maybe you can look him up on YouTube if you want, Sean. Do you know who he is?
No.
Okay, if I'm correct, he has this one of those funky bar handle mustaches. He's pretty eccentric. I mean, nice guy. I've got no real issue with him. He's doing his best to promote on YouTube. Anyhow, but how about if you stay right there and I'll finish my story. So, point is I started experimenting, and one of the reasons I was willing to experiment with waterless washing techniques is because I was so frustrated that back in the day that we would detail a car and there was a show truck that we used to take care of specifically. I mean, the thing had about $150,000 of customization into it. It really was sick. And we would detail it and wax it, and the thing just looked so perfect. I spent time polishing the paint, and then we would come and wash it and put some wash scratch in it. And I thought, okay, this is frustrating. So, what's happening? Am I using a wash mitt that is putting some type of scratches in it? Or is the wax that I'm using getting broken down with just a one wash? And so I was very frustrated by it. And I really tried to figure out what it was. And that's where I thought, I wonder if, because the truck never got that dirty, it was just basic dust. And so I wanted to solve the problem in that moment on that particular truck. And then maybe it could bleed out into our other cars. So what I did is I took the window cleaner, I diluted it down, and I took a chamois and I spritzed the hood and I wiped it. And it was kind of a scary moment because I was afraid I might do some scratching. But to my surprise, it's like, oh my gosh, this is turning out better than old school washing technology and methods, no matter how hyper vigilant I am to make sure I've got a very clean wash mitt. I got my clean soapy water and everything was controlled as much as I could, but I was able to produce better results. And you want to know what the added benefit was, Sean? Wait for it. I'm going to tell you.
What was
We
it?
didn't have to blow the car off because we didn't use gallons and gallons of water on it. And that was a huge time saver. And it's like, oh my gosh. So moving forward, that I figured out a few tricks for it. And that became our go-to method when it came to washing cars, because this is back when we were doing a lot of weekly washes and cars, especially here in California, we pretty much have dry weather all the time. Cars aren't getting decimated like they are in other parts of the country. So you basically have a car with a week's worth of dust on it. And you're like, man, I don't want to get this thing all wet. It's just creates so much extra work. So we started doing our weekly accounts with waterless wash methods. And this is probably back in 19, I don't know, it's early on. Let's see, I'd been married for a few years. I'd probably say I was married first in 1988. I'm going to say 1992. In fact, I'm going to do a search here, Sean, and see what perplexity. Who's your go-to for AI, Sean?
ChatGPT.
Yeah, I use ChatGPT, but I also use Perplexity. Difference with Perplexity is it's not limited to information that stopped at like 2022. So I'm looking up first introduced into cosmetic car care. We'll see what Perplexity says. I'm curious. Wow. Arrow invented the first waterless wash product. So in 1987, according to Perplexity, Arrow Cosmetics, which they have some good products, by the way. Let's see. But see, that's the point, is this is before the internet. I mean, yes, did the internet exist? Yes, it did. But it was not mainstream. No one really had access to it. It existed, but no one could actually engage with it. So I was not too far off. So 1992, that's when we started developing our own way of doing wireless washing. So thumbs up to me and my, and what's kind of ironic is that I was annoyed at this employee because he was constantly cutting corners. And here he was cutting corners, but the reality is his willingness to cut corners, and that's really what it was about. He's not trying to innovate. He was just trying to, shortcut his workload, which I guess you could say is a form of innovation. And which leads to another point, is every employee I had, I learned something from them. And so I never diminish that kind of working methodology, which is, I believe that there's always something to be learned from every person. If you just keep your mind open and you ask questions or you observe, that I don't care how stupid the person may seem or appear, I guarantee they can teach you something. And in that moment, this employee taught me something, even though I wanted to dismiss his efforts as being lazy and shortcutting the moment. But I went away and I thought, you know what? There might be some potential here. And we developed it. So it was cool. So juice free, yeah, I can't say I have any experience with their actual hyper foam rinseless. Um, but based on their other products, I'm going to say it's probably pretty good. Hey, Sean, why don't you look it up?
Okay.
And who is it that does? Oh, it's Optimum. Optimum No Rinse. That's what that
Yeah.
acronym is. So look up
Yeah.
Optimum Hyper Foam Rinseless. I suspect it's. I wonder if it's dedicated or intended to be used in a foam cannon.
Oh wait.
You got a typo probably.
No, I know I do it. I was just on it.
Well, and let's see. There's Arrow, by the way. That very top product. That's Arrow Cosmetics. I think you're gonna have to type in Optimum.
No, I just saw it right here. See?
Yeah, but we want their foamless. So go to their. If you look on that heading, you probably can go to their store. There we
Yeah.
go. Or actually just copy and paste scroll down and look for
Hold
the
on.
word Optimum, and you can copy and paste it and put it up in the, yeah. So copy and paste, just copy and paste Optimum. Okay, Optimum No Rinse. Now put it up there. Yes. Okay, and then put a space and then add Hyperfoam Rinseless.
I don't think they have it.
There it is. Is that not it at the very top?
I don't know. I don't think so.
With power. Oh,
That's not it.
I only say that because I don't recognize that packaging.
Well, that's obviously new. That's their new branding, but that's like
Yeah, I suspect it
I,
is. But look, scroll down. Okay, go to the top and eliminate.
or I could just do something else. I'll just
No,
do this.
do this. Eliminate the no rinse, but keep everything else there. Yeah, just highlight the no rinse. And now press search. Are you seeing anything?
No.
Oh, there it is.
Where?
Hyperfoam in the gallon size. No, scroll back up. Yeah, the bright colored red. See the yeah, you just hovered over it. Far left. Yep. Rinseless foaming car wash soap. Hyperfoam. So can you expand like the direct? Let me read that. No rinse foam, polymer-based rinseless wash with foaming surfactants provides all the benefits of the original ONR alcohol with dirt thing. Ooh, this has dirt lifting power of foam. I didn't know that foam actually had dirt lifting capabilities, but I do know now. More foam, more cleaning power. Okay. We're welcome to the world of hype. Safe on all surfaces, great for interior. Oh, that's interesting. Great
Wait,
for
Darren,
what?
Juice Free is asking or telling you something.
It can be. There are two types of rinseless in the market: 100% polymer and a hybrid polymer surfactant. The new Hyperfoam is a hybrid. Yeah, but this caught my eye. It says safe for all surfaces, safe on waxes, sealants, PPF coatings, and all interior and exterior. Okay, that's a little confusing. Um, like, what are you gonna do? Foam down in your interior and wash it like your exterior? Meaning, I'm the guy that introduced wax using a synthetic spray wax on the interior of your car, but I clarified it. Like, this is a little confusing why they would say interior. Use a rinseless wash, a car wash soap, and a powerful foaming pre-wash.
I know what they're doing. Yeah. It's the
That's
same. They're trying to imitate like the whole like the more foam the better. That's what they're doing. Like the but without using but going wireless.
yeah. I
I would
mean,
try it. I would try it.
I would try it. I mean, I honestly, I would just try it based on the fact that they have. Oh, wait, stay there. Did you ever use that sponge? That's called the big red sponge, I think is what.
No,
I do
no,
not understand that sponge because it's kind of rigid. So you've never even held one, Sean?
no.
Okay. It's kind of a rigid sponge, and there's so many guys love them, and I know why they love them. Um, what happened to CSI?
You have to stop there every time people ask a question. You have to stop what you're doing and answer the
Well, what
question.
about the 10 other guys listening to my talk track, and then I'm just going to leave them hanging?
The whole point of the live stream is answer people's questions.
Rinseless in a bucket. Yeah. Okay,
You can't.
Leardy 58, Liardi. I don't know how to pronounce that. What happened to CSI? Well, it depends on what you mean by what happened. What happened with my involvement with them? Why? What happened in that they're hard to get their products on Amazon? Is in most of the time they're unavailable. What happened to them? Like, I could answer that in a lot of different ways. The simple answer is that I'm no longer an owner with CSI. We had a parting of ways. I still love their products. The problem is you can't really find the products on Amazon anymore because he's got a problem with manufacturing, and he's also trying to develop some other products like his ceramic coating, his auto slick. So there's a lot of things that happen. Man, this is going to sound disrespectful, but I don't think you guys know about the rinseless world. Well, I don't know. It doesn't matter if it's disrespectful, I guess. But yeah, I do know about the rinseless world. But do I know every single product? No. So, Juice Free, how about if you enlighten us as to what part about the rinseless world are you thinking that we don't know about? Like, I get it. You, meaning rinseless and foaming, that's kind of a that's kind of conflating terms at a level, in my opinion, because you talked about the ONR's, um, yeah, Liardi. You talked about ONR's new foaming stuff that we're looking at right here. So I don't really call that rinseless. In my opinion, well,
It's just
okay,
a
I'm going to
marketing
dig
scheme.
in because I think I know what he means. So we might be conflating waterless with rinseless. So he might be referring to specifically rinseless, as in you foam it up and then you wipe it down, which is different than waterless. So, for example, ONR, I believe if you go to an ONR, Sean,
Yeah.
I think it is labeled as rinseless, optimum no rinse. which is different than waterless wash, even though I would use that product as a waterless wash. So I guess if I was training someone, I would tell them that there is confusion in the industry with this terminology. So some guys might be talking about waterless washing when in fact they're talking about rinseless washing, which in many ways I would say that the technique is so similar, and that's why the terminology gets confusing. So Optimum, they create their no rinse products, which probably Optimum is the one that coined that term, which is different than waterless washing products. So I don't know, probably juice free. Um, I went into my story how I believe that I could claim that I developed water, actually, not me, but one of my employees. He started doing it. I went on to develop it further to a point where we could actually use it on our customers' vehicles. And this is before the internet existed. This is before the products existed, at least to my awareness. Um, anyhow, so I suspect that we might just, it's kind of semantics. You call it waterless, do you call it rinseless? The techniques are kind of the same. It's literally God's gift to detailers. I agree, by the way, juice free. Wash the car, wash the windows, clean the interior, all with the same bucket of rinseless. So, yeah, he's saying that you basically can, like, for example, based on that, you're going to take a rag, and this is what I would do. If I'm going to use the same water or the bucket of rinseless as I wash the exterior with, I would not wash the exterior with it first. So, juice free, tell me this. I'm going to do a description here, and you tell me how on point I am. So, what I would do if I was presented with a challenge, I've got a dirty car, not excessively dirty, but just dirty inside and out. And my goal is to do a very nice, thorough wash job on it and touch up the interior in addition to washing it. So I would start with the interior. I would basically vacuum it out, and then I would reach for the bucket with my solution already pre-mixed in it. I would take a microfiber cloth. I would douse it. I would dunk it into the bucket, completely saturate the cloth, wring it out very tightly so it's now just damp with the rinseless product. And now I would wipe down the entire inside, and I would follow it with my dusting brush, or actually use them simultaneously. So I've already washed it. Now I'm wiping it down and dusting it off. Now the inside looks perfect. Now I'm going to go to the outside, and now I'm going to wash the car with that same solution, still using the same bucket, the same solution. Now I'm going to wash the exterior. So, juice free, tell me how I did. Does
Well,
that sound?
he read the comment he just made.
Why can't I say that name? Van, whatever. And DYD, I've been taking the niche rinseless wash market by storm. Yvonne was the main proponent in pushing rinseless for Optimum. Now he has his own company, but his rinseless is a hybrid. Well, that's cool. I mean, thumbs up for him. And did I get that right? You know what? I'm going to look it up. I got my computer here. I'm going to look up
He says you're right. He says you're right.
about which part, though, because I asked him two rights. One about the description on using rinseless with the interior and exterior, and right about is Yvonne, the guy with the handlebar mustache. Let's see. I can't even spell his last name. To look it up. How's that? I'm pretty sure that's who I'm thinking of. 100% correct. All right, cool. Well, thanks, Juice Free, and thanks for digging in. By the way, like, like, don't fear. Where's I can't read his comment, Sean. Let me see. Where is it? I'm looking over to the right. Oh, don't fear disrespecting. You were not disrespectful. Um, I I I encourage any pushback, not in the name of just pushing back, but if you literally have something, um, that's exactly how you would use rinseless. All right, cool. Well, I know that's what I would do.
Well,
And
that's the way I've been using that way for like 10 years.
yeah, but did you do that with the Interior, Sean?
Yeah, I do the
Oh,
interior, the
well, check you out.
exterior,
And
the
honestly, I
wheels. Yeah,
I didn't because um, I'm just going to like, for example, it depends on if I'm detailing or if I'm washing a car. And then you've got this maintenance detailing. But the point is on the interior, I'm going to use a separate cloth because I'm just going to spritz it with a little bit of because if you're maintaining a car,
yeah,
which is different than a one-off detailing. So a one-off detailing, there's no way a rinseless product is going to work. It's not going to cut through the grime of
yeah.
a car that needs to be detailed because it hasn't been cleaned in 3 years or is detailed inside. So that's a non-issue. So it's really going to come down to if you're doing a basic wash and touch up of the inside, or you're doing a maintenance detail where the car's really never allowed to get dirty again. So I didn't do that because I defaulted to my own product, which is a microfiber cloth. I spritz it. Let's say it's a maintenance detail. I spritz it with
Mm,
so yeah, hell yeah, Sean. I
mm.
spritz it with some all-purpose cleaner, and that becomes my cloth that I'm going to wipe down, dust the car inside with my dusting brush. And that's just what I did. Use this foam sponge on the outside. Yep, bingo.
Yeah, but I used it for maintenance cleans. So my weekly customers or monthly customers,
Yeah.
I will use, but also depending on whether the condition of the car. So the car, if he just went, because I had a customer who had a Jeep Wrangler, a black one, and he went off roading in it and it had like mud on it.
Ooh,
Yeah, I did not use the owner for that. I
it probably
used
had it probably had chunks on the outside,
it
correct?
was like hard as rock, and I
Oh,
had to use. I did it though. I was able to do it. I did it with.
yeah.
I actually used Simple Green, uh, and then
For the exterior,
yeah,
yeah,
water, and then I used obviously like just regular car wash soap, and I
yeah.
gently did it because I had to be really careful because I don't want to scratch the paint.
I don't suppose the customer gave you the heads up that, oh, by the way, I went off roading, and when you show up, there's going to be 3 pounds of dried, crusty mud on my car. Did he
No,
offer that to you?
no, but when I saw it, I told him the price is going to be double.
Did you?
Yeah, and he
Oh,
says,
good
he
for
said,
you.
yeah, he paid it because he knew that his car was pretty messed up.
Which I don't know. In that moment, Sean, do you not think like, dude, like it would have been honorable of you to give me the heads up? Like, hey, by the way, I need my car done. And oh, by the way, you should know that I went off roading. And so when you show up, there's going to be 3 pounds of dried, crusty mud on it. Don't you think that would have been the more honorable thing to do
Yeah,
if you were that guy, right?
it would be nice, but the vast majority of people that I work with or customers or yeah, customers I've had were not very honest. Like, because I always ask a question like that you taught me from 1 to 10, one being the dirtiest, 10 being the cleanest. What is your car? And they'll be like, oh, it's
Yeah.
not that bad. It's like a 7. So I know from that answer it's more likely like a 3. So
Yeah.
so I
But
always
but
think the
what you've
worst.
done,
Yeah.
see, and I teach this in my programs. This is arguments to that view. I'm not sure how to interpret that. Juice free.
I think. Are you trying to say that you use rinseless wash on a Jeep Wrangler with mud on it?
Who did
Because
you're saying that to juice free?
yeah,
Oh,
I'm asking. I'm hoping not, because
I
that would be a big no no.
I mean, I doubt. I don't know that statement he just made is really
That's okay. I'm sure he'll rephrase it.
yeah. So that's a point, Sean. That's something I teach in my courses. For example, is that question, and you because that question serves a few purposes. One, it gives you some point of reference. So if you and I think you said a 10 is I think you use the same scaling system I did. I mean, I know
Yeah,
you said I taught you that, but I want to verify that your scaling system. So 10 would be perfect.
yeah,
1 would be the dirtiest. So yes.
yes,
So that's what I do at the customer. And typically I do that when I'm talking about the interior and I'll say, "Hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being brand new
yeah,
showroom condition, how would you rate the interior of your car?" So what that does is it gets them to qualify as in the qualities of their car. How dirty is it? And you're holding them accountable. And what you can do if let's say you show up and you realize, oh my gosh, they gave their car a 7 I would give this car a 3. So
Right.
right there, you know that either they tried to misrepresent to you because they're cheap, or in benefit of benefit of the doubt, as the saying goes, maybe they just have a very uncritical eye, which would be the good news. Unfortunately, that's not generally how it works. Most people do try to kind of manipulate you by suggesting that it's not that bad. Oh, my car's not that bad. Well, let's qualify that. On a scale of 1 to 10, how not that bad is your car? Well, I'd give it, it's about a 7. And then you show up and it's like a 4. You're like, okay, well, you and I exist in different realities, but okay, I'll work with this. So let's pretend that that customer at the end of your detail, because it really is a 4, and even though they thought it was a 7, and let's say they were trying to manipulate you into not charging them more money now that you see it, and let's say you did the detail, you spent even more time than you should have because they misrepresented and told you it was a 7 and now it's a 4, and now they're not particularly happy with the results. I would then use that number against them and say, well, you gave it a 7. In my world, I see cars all day long. This is a 4. So you could actually then leverage that against them. Now, I've never had to do that, but I still, it still is a very useful way for a customer to qualify how they perceive the dirt level of their car is. So let's see here, juice free. Some would say even the dirtiest car can be washed with rinses. Granted, straight up mud can be pre-sprayed with pressure wash in both instances, but any situation.
Well,
Um,
I want to answer this. So,
go for it.
uh, juice free. When I did this Wrangler, obviously this is not the Wrangler I did, but I just use it as an example. This is kind of what it looked like. The tires rolled really bad. I never used a pressure washer when I wash cars or detail cars. I did it with. I still use O&R, but I first started the greaser and washed it by hand very gently, removing as much as I could, and then I used the O&R at the end. Why is the screen disappearing?
Yeah, well, he's suggesting you can still, but he's also adding another component in here because he's saying, um,
Hmm.
see, he's using the pressure washer because the pressure washer, like to use that example that you put up on that Jeep,
Why is it
a
doing that?
pressure washer is going to blow off probably 85 to
Oh yeah,
90% of that mud.
yeah.
So at that point, it's like, yeah, okay, if I have a pressure washer and I've got gallons and gallons of water I can use and I can spend the time blowing it off, then yeah, I'm definitely going to blow it off with the pressure washer. Um, and I would actually use some type of detergent really to help
Yeah.
break it down. But honestly, mud, it's kind of unique in that it's more about just it's water soluble for the most part. There's not like a even adding a degreaser to it's not necessarily going to break it down any quicker. Just the water alone is really going to do that. I mean, mud really is basically dirt that's been had water added to it. That's what mud is. So it's kind of
No,
different than other
I
types
didn't
of
use it.
dirt.
I was like, I did not use a hose. No,
Well, what did you use, Sean? What like
I used the pump sprayer that the one we were talking about yesterday. That and the one
but
gallon
didn't you
pump sprayer.
you didn't used to carry a hose and a water
No,
nozzle with you?
I never did.
Really? Wow.
Never.
So okay, I'm so Claire. So how did you get all that mud off?
I used. Well, I had a bucket, and all I used was water. I used Dawn dish soap. That's what I used. Dawn
Yeah,
dish soap, water, and I used Simple Green, and I got it all off. And then took me a while, but once I got it off, and then I
I was
used
gonna
O and
say it
R.
probably took you forever, huh?
Not. I mean, it took me like maybe like 2 hours.
Yeah, to just do
Um,
the outside or the whole thing.
no, just the mud. Just get rid of the mud.
Wow.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
rid of the mud. Once I got rid of the mud, then I used O and R on the rest of the car. I clayed it, and I used. Oh yeah, I used ceramics
Hey, check this out, juice free. Here's
and
one
wax
for
it and
you.
wax it. Sorry, and waxed it. Go on.
And Sean, I don't know if I ever taught you this trick, and I'll call it a trick. So, for example, and I've talked to other detailers about this, and none of them really can wrap their mind around it. And so, what I did is I trained my customers, and when I say customers, I mean first time people also, is to have them wash their car first before I even showed up. So in that case, I would not have to even deal with the mud because Johnny customer would have washed his car himself or taken it to a local car wash first before I show up. Now, most detailers can't wrap their mind around that because it's so counterintuitive. It's like, dude, that's part of the service. Like, how are you going to get that to fly with the customers? And my answer is, well, if you present it in the right way, you'd be surprised at what you can get away with. So that was one of my profit hacks. Is it would save me so much time because I didn't have to wash the vehicle first. So when I showed up, I could just get down to detailing business. So how's that? So yes, I used to carry hose, juice free, but when I first started out, I did have a fully self-contained mobile unit. It had a 70-gallon water tank, had a Honda, I think it was a 5 horsepower motor connected to a pressure washer assembly that put out, I think it was 1500 psi, and I had a generator. So it was all self-contained. So yes, I used to, and when I had all my crews, we all had self-contained units. So we all had water tanks and pressure washers. And so we had access to that. But then when I decided to lean down and become this lean, mean, profitable machine, it's like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. And now I eliminated my water tank, my pressure washer, all that stuff. And I could condense and consolidate everything into a much tighter area. I didn't have to maintain that stuff. Because, like with a pressure washer, because I used a gas powered one, I'd have to change the oil,
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to change the air filter on it. And then the water pump, occasionally that needs to be serviced. That also has oil, it needs to be changed. So it's just a lot of extra maintenance. Sean is definitely rinseless gang. Yes, he is. Yeah, Sean really. You kind of took that to a new level, Sean. So
Yeah, actually, it's funny because
thumbs up
like
on you.
when I would show up to customers' houses, and in my 2012 Hyundai Elantra,
Yeah.
and people would be in shock. They're like, "Where's your van? Where's your truck?"
Did anyone ever really say that to you though?
I had a few people there. They weren't sure. They didn't know what to think about it. And then
Okay,
I
but
opened my.
but just to clarify this, I'm being literal. Like I get that people would be a little perplexed. Like they walk out and they probably expect that you would have a van or truck. I understand that. But what I'm asking is, did anyone literally ever say to you like, "Oh, wait, where's your work truck or where's your work
Yeah,
van?" They did.
I bet. Yeah, they asked me that. They thought I was
Wow.
just coming to give like an estimate. And I said, "No, I'm here to do a job."
Oh, I see.
And then I just said like just come back and I'll let you know when the car's done. And they couldn't believe it when they came back. They were like, "Oh my god, that's not even the same car." They couldn't believe it. Like I've had tons of compliments saying like it looks better than when I first bought it.
Yeah,
So they're in shock.
that's
But
cool.
yeah, that's the best thing about driving a little tiny car to a job, especially when I had to do like when I got really good, I would do 3 cars in one like at the same in one day.
Yeah,
And then when
yeah,
I got really fast, because I remember the first car I detailed, the very first car I detailed before I met you, and I did it more. I did it for like really cheap because I was
yeah.
I was learning, and it took me. It was a van. It was like a those old 80s and 90s like camper vans, like the
80s or 90s camper van?
yeah. It was like a van, and inside it has like it looks like a little
Was it a
motorhome.
Volkswagen? Are you
Nah,
talking about the
it was like I think it was like a GM.
No.
Uh,
Was
but
it, oh,
anyways,
you mean a van conversion?
yeah, I
Okay.
said
So it
yeah.
had
It
a
comes
bubble top thingy on
yeah,
the
yeah,
roof. Yeah, okay, van
and then
conversion.
yeah, they have like the lazy boy. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I had one of those, and the guy bought it like he's had it since like he told me since like the late '80s,
Yeah.
and because he always saw me wash my car outside, it's like I mean your car looks because I would wash my car, my wife's car, my in-laws' cars. The cars will always be like brand new,
Yeah.
and he offered me to wash his van. So I'm like, sure, I can do it. And I'm like, how much do we do it for? I'm like, I don't know, like $200. He's like, done. And I'm like,
You
sweet.
told him 200 bucks to
Yeah.
wash it and
Or to detail it,
okay, detail it.
Okay, so then I paid. So I thought $200, man. I'm gonna make a crap load of money.
And then 6
Uh,
hours later when you're still working
no,
on it,
not 6 hours. It took me 20 hours to do it.
20
20 hours.
I didn't see
20
that
hours.
coming. Oh my
Yeah, 20
gosh.
hours. But when I
20
was,
hours. So you
yeah,
obviously
that's,
had to come back multiple days.
well, I did it in 3 days.
Oh my word.
And when I was done, I kind of gave up. I was done, and I said, I said, I am so sorry. You know, I don't think I can go anymore. Is this acceptable? And he looked at it and he's like, holy crap. He's like, it looks better when I bought it. And I was like, well, I'm glad you liked it because that was a lot of work. I'm not doing it again for $200. So
Dude, that's one of the worst first learning experiences I've ever heard, by the way. You've never shared that with
yeah,
me.
yeah. And then I,
There's probably a reason you've never shared it with me.
well, no, it was a learning experience, and I remember when I started like the actual business, and I was detailing cars. Like the first car I did was a Honda Accord,
Yeah.
and it took me. It was a full detail. It was like the gold package. It was everything. When I mean everything, inside, outside, wheels,
Yeah.
paint enhancement, and it took me. And the car was pretty dirty. From 1 to 10, I would give it like a 4. It was pretty dirty,
Yeah. It's
and
pretty dirty.
yeah, and it took me 8 hours.
Yeah.
But I got faster. I remember towards the when I got really fast, I could do the same car in maybe 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
I got really fast, and I
So
could
is
do
this were these experiences that you just talked about, the van and then this Honda, was that before you met me, or was the
yeah.
Honda like after you met me?
The van was before I met you. The
Yeah.
Honda was after I met you. So
Okay.
shortly after I met you, I did the Honda. The Honda I got on my own. It wasn't through you, and that one took 8 hours. But and also that one, I went to the lady's work,
Oh wow.
and I she parked her car in the back. I had a water access, right? So I didn't use a hose, but I had water access for the
Yeah.
buckets. And I brought, and there was also I had an extension cord, so I had a 150-foot extension cord, so I had obviously an outlet, and I was able to do her car. And basically, I got there when she started work, and basically, well, a little bit afterwards, and basically by the time she got off work, her car was ready.
Yeah.
But when she walked out, I think, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. And when she came out, she was like, holy moly, like, it looks amazing. And I said, well, I'm glad you like it because it was a lot of work. It was actually really dirty. So,
I'm glad you
yeah,
like it. That was a lot of work.
yeah, it was a lot of work. I mean, those
Yeah.
wheels look like they haven't seen like anything. No one's touched them. Like, and that's the worst part when people go like, uh, when's the last time we detailed? It's like, I had a detail a couple of years ago, but they never had a detail before.
Right.
And you can tell. Like, as soon as I
Yeah.
look at it, I'm like, man, those wheels, I thought that was the color of the wheels. I cleaned them, and I'm like, those were not the color of the wheels.
Oh
So
yeah.
they were pretty bad. But yeah, I've had some, but I've also had customers that were easy, but I would say the vast majority of the customers I had were like in really bad shape. I had one customer I remember who, man, he lied like hardcore. I 1 to 10,
Really.
yeah. I'm like, what is it? He's like, it's like an 8. I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking it's gonna be like a 5, a 4. I got there, it was like -5. It was
Whoa.
like the worst car I've ever seen in my life. It looked like it'd been sitting outside like for decades. It was in really bad shape, and it was covered in bird crap. It
Oh
was so much bird
man.
crap on it. And I told the guy, "There's no way, man. The price is going up." And the picture he sent me was an older picture of the
Really.
car. Yeah, so
What
it
a
was,
what a slime ball.
yeah. He's like, "It's not that bad." I'm like, "No, no. I'm sorry. I actually that was the first time where I was getting ready to like say no
Yeah.
because there's too much work. I just told him the amount of time it's going to take me." And well, he's like, "How much?" Because I quoted him $200, and I said, uh, he's like, "How much would you do it for?" I'm like, "Well, man, that condition of that car, probably like $500 I would do it for." And he's like, "Whoa, it's too much." I'm like, "Well, then I'm not a good fit for you." He paid it finally, but
Oh, he
then when
did.
I yeah, but then when I was done, he was asking me to do his other car. Um, it wasn't as bad condition, but he wanted a discount, and I was like, "Nah."
A
I told him like,
discount.
you know what? Let me get back to you. I have other jobs to go to, which I did. I just want to get out of there.
Yeah.
Never want to work there again. But anyways,
Yeah.
juice free just asked another question, or you just didn't
Yeah,
understand.
I saw that. Wheels and juice free, that's exactly what I transitioned into when I got rid of my cruise and I downsized my business and I was thought I'm just sticking to myself. I'm gonna really simplify my life, see how profitable I could truly become. So that's literally what I did is in 95% of the
Oh yeah,
times I accept because wheels can be very intricate. and to try to clean them without water, it's just really difficult. It's one of the areas that he's pointing out, Sean, that you really do need water. Yes, you can get by without it. Of course, you can, figure anything out, but definitely, and that's what I used to use. But what I did switch away from juice free is away from acid. Yes, this stuff works great, especially with a pressure washer. You can blow wheels like 99% clean with just acid and water and a pressure water. But I was just tired of basically destroying everything with acid, including my own health. And so I switched away from acid, and now I just use simple green, something I know is not going to tear up my lungs, or I don't have to worry about the runoff water with it either. Anyhow, so wow, Sean, do you see what I'm looking at?
Yeah, it's been over 30 minutes.
Over 30. We've
Yeah,
we've exceeded even an hour, dude.
I know. I was being sarcastic. So
Oh, okay. Sorry, your sarcasm was lost on me in the moment.
I
My
can tell.
bad.
Yeah.
So, Sean, are we going to tap out, or what's? I'll let you make the call.
But it's up to you. It doesn't matter to me. It's not like I'm doing anything better.
Wait, what? It's not like you're doing anything better. Was
Yeah.
that
I mean,
sarcasm also?
yeah. I don't. It's fine. We can go a little longer if you want. It doesn't bug me.
No, I was leaving it up to you because me, I only eat once a day, and anyhow, so I'm starting to fade. How about that?
Ah. Well then, yeah. We can do this again on Saturday.
Okay. All right. So, any last words, Sean? I guess so. You guys, I'll say this. Um, Tune in for sure every Saturday evening, 6 o'clock. We were here last night. Went really
Pacific time.
well. What's
Pacific
that?
time. Pacific time.
Yes, Pacific time.
Yeah.
So maybe juice free. We'll see you back on the rebound. And Sean, thank you for your assistance tonight. And we're gonna peace out. All right.
Yep. All right.
Oh,
See you
there's
guys later.
Mark.
Oh,
Yeah.
he got a little too late. That's okay.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Glad you could make it, but we're tapping out for the evening, and we'll see you next weekend.